Okay, hi guys, I'm back. The star. This is my camera. I wanted to talk about some see, I'm dyslexic and I keep forgetting that everything's backwards. So, here's my camera. It actually came from Osaka. My son bought it for me the first time I went to Japan when I went to Osaka when my after right after my grandson was born. I really didn't. I always wanted a really good camera. That's what I told him when I went to Japan. That's all I talked about. I was like, okay, I want a camera. That's what I want, a camera and an MP3 player. That's it. So of course I got there and I got both. I actually started to get interested in photography when well, no, I've always been interested in photography. I've always taken a lot of pictures and I believe in paper pictures. Even though I'm a tree hugger, I believe in printing out pictures because you have all your pictures on your telephone, you lose that telephone. I mean, and I also but with USB or whatever those things are, you can capture your um capture your images on those kind of things. But I don't know, for some reason I've always liked to print some pictures out and have them in an album. So I have a lot of albums, so that kind of thing. And I got interested really in photography when I decided to go back to college. My journalism teacher was a photojournalist, and he really kind of got me interested in like serious, real photography. And I'm gonna put some of my pictures online, but I just don't have time. It's so much stuff going on. That's another reason why I'm really kind of doing this. It's just to do something that's fun to get my mind off of all the crazy stuff that I'm going through right now because it's hard. It really is hard. I like to photograph outside. I'm not really a person uh, photographer because I really don't want to invade anybody's privacy. But if you ask them, can you take their picture, they stop doing whatever it was you want to photograph. And also, you have to be careful when you photograph children. I always ask their parents and stuff if I can photograph them. You just have to be careful, so careful nowadays because of losers have made it hard for all of us. I also I don't take a lot of selfies. I took one really good one the other night after the premiere, which usually don't do that. But I was just feeling frisky. It had a good night, did a little dancing, did a little flirting, was feeling really good. So when I got home, I thought, I really should get a picture of this dress. And number two, the second reason is because that pink dress is one of my favorite dresses and it's getting too big. So I thought this may be the last time I get to wear it. So it's going to hurt to give that away. That is really going to hurt to give that away. I think what I'm going to do is take it down to the theater and donate it to the costume department. So maybe somebody don't have use for it one day. That's really heartbreaking when the clothes I really love. This is getting too big. A lot of stuff is getting too big, which is good, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. That's my age. I just didn't want to be another statistic. I just did not want to be another overweight, diabetic black woman. I just, and if the stats that I've heard are true, 80% of black women are overweight. 60% are what you would call, as far as that, what's that barometric thing, um obese. And I am not going to be a statistic. Okay, I want to see my grandkids graduate college, and I don't want my son to have to be taken care of someone who can't take care of themselves. A few stretches in the morning, watching what you eat is a small price to pay for being independent in your old age. So that's really why I'm doing it, just to stay healthy and to I like to go down to the dock where I live. It's beautiful. Like I said, in Washington State, there's lots of scenery and mountains and trees, and it's beautiful. And I like to go down to the water and take pictures. Go down to the dock and where the ferry docks and take pictures. I like to do that. I don't take any composition pictures where you put stuff in. move stuff so you can take pictures of it. I don't like that. I like to take pictures of statues. That's fun. That's a crazy thing I like to do. Um, I like to take nature pictures, and like I said before, I don't wear my glasses when I take pictures because I want to see with the third eye, see with my brain instead of looking through the thing here. And I don't look through the that. See, I can't. I don't. I'm still trying to get. I don't look through that. I look through this. Oh, look at that. Gosh, I'm side. I saw myself almost there a minute. Anyway, I need to do my nails too today. But I don't look through the viewfinder. I don't. I try. I usually put it on automatic, and I don't monkey around with a lot of Photoshop and stuff. I crop, but that's about all. But I talked about that. Put my camera away. I talked about what kind of music a little bit. I touched on it on my other video. I like classical music. Classic rock is my best, is my favorite. I like, let's see what I got. I've got, well, my music is so wild. I mean, I have Bruce Springsteen, I have Mark Cohen, and then I have Hole, and then I have Marilyn Manson, so I mean, and then I have operas, and then I have uh, the Grateful Dead, and then I have ABBA. So it's the, but that's what I get from my up. Oh, and I have some country music. I have John Conley because, but it's just how I was raised. It was the when I was coming up and getting to the point where I was deciding what kind of music, and I was like 12, 13, 14. It was the late 60's and everything was going on. It was a wonderful time to be a woman in that age, to be 14, 15, to be, 1970, 15 years old. You can't imagine, you guys can't imagine what the world was like then. It was so full of revolution and change, and it wasn't just buzzwords. I mean, we really, thought that, we could change the things. And I'm still kind of hippified. I mean, I'm conservative about some things. I'm conservative about a lot of issues. And then I'm on the other end, the liberal part of side of things about other things. I guess that's how everybody is. I don't think I'm an independent. I don't do that stuff because to quote Juvenal, he was a philosopher during the Roman court, and he said his quote was yesterday, talking of politicians, he said, yesterday they were village ruffians, today they dictate life and death over us, tomorrow they will be keepers of the public laboratories. So I'm kind of paraphrasing, but basically, and that's how I feel about politics. It doesn't matter. The president does not run the country. We all know pharmaceutical companies and big business do, oil business do. So it really doesn't matter who's president because he doesn't run the country, and we should be the ones running the country, but we don't. Um, Supposedly, no, I mean supposedly we're supposed to be the ones running the country, and we really don't. We know who's running it. Also, um, let me see. I got, what do I have? Kinds of music. Yeah, I talked about the music. I talked about, being of age in the late 60's, early 70's. And so, oh, I was talking about music, and um, just all kind of music was coming at me, Motown, country music, rock music, psychedelic rock was just, getting to be, the British invasion was just, hitting, and that kind of music was going on. I've actually been to boy band concerts here lately, in later in life. I think I've seen NSYNC. I know I've seen NSYNC. I know I've seen the Backstreet Boys, that kind of thing, the boy band kind of phenomena when it was on. Midlife crisis, trust me. I have to find some pictures of me in my long braids. Oh, man, that's crazy. But I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I look back on this stuff. Um, Also, what I say, shoes, makeup. I've always have kind of worn makeup. I don't think it's a sin or anything. It's kind of silly. Um, I've always kind of tried to keep, no, well, when I was younger, I was crazy with the eyeliner all the way back here and the white pearly lipstick and the long eyelashes and that crazy looking stuff and eyeliner all over your face. But as you grow older, you get a little more natural, and the older you get, you should tone down your makeup and stuff. Just keep, just tone it down a little bit because it's nothing worse than seeing an older woman with makeup on that's too young. Also, as far as clothing is concerned, I have a lot of conservative clothing because I worked in corporate before I went back to college. So I was sitting in college, in suits basically, because that's all I had to wear. And nowadays, like I said, going to career things, going on interviews, doing that kind of thing. I kind of, dress kind of conservatively. I love to dress up like night, evening clothes and stuff like that. I love shoes, shoes, shoes. I love shoes. Have a lot of shoes. Um, I talked about photography. I talked about the music. Talked about the clothing. Talked about the shoes. That's for something else. So I think I talked about the behind the scenes stuff. Oh, the techno. I see beauty. It must have been about taking your skin, care of your skin, and that kind of stuff. Um, Told you about that. Told you about that. So I really don't know. I don't want this one to be really, really short, but I also don't want to start about the book or anything and have to quit in the middle. So I think what I will do is talk about one of my books here. Truman Capote. I have a book that's three short stories from him. I also have read his biography. It's really interesting. Truman Capote wrote a book called In Cold Blood, and it was about these murderers, these two men who had murdered this entire family, and ended up with $30. This was in the 50s. And what happened was Truman Capote got to know the killers. He got to know the killers, and in the end, he had like a conscious thing going on because he was a gay man, and I think it's funny. His partner, like I said, I'm old, so I still say lover. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but his lover was a writer too, and they lived in two different houses. I mean, they were right next door, but they, that's great. Oh my gosh, that's great. So Jack Dempsey, I believe, something like that was his lover's name, and Truman Capote, his mother pretty much deserted him. His grand parents, his aunts, and everything were his actually raised him. He was from the South. He went to New York early in his life, and actually just got a job at a publishing company, something like that. He later in his life is when he wrote In Cold Blood, and he got to know the killers, and he used his sexuality a lot to kind of take them off. They weren't really taking him, seriously, and he was just kind of, working his thing, but he got them to say things. He went around and he interviewed everybody that knew the victims and everybody that knew the killers, and in the end he really got close to them. They got close to him, but the dilemma was that he couldn't finish the book until they were hung. And so he was caught in the middle of, okay, I want to finish my book, but I still want to help these guys. I still kind of like them, but I want to write my book. And I always, tease that I'd kick the door, the trap door out the way, for them to whoosh, in order to finish my book, man. I wouldn't care what I had to do, but no, I'm kidding. Um, no, I'm not. But that was the dilemma he had in it, and some of the decisions he made actually when he finished the book, it ended up being like a super, super duper smash. But some of the things he had to do just weighed on him. Weighed on fine. He actually drank himself to death. Um, because he was an alcoholic anyway, and he ended up drinking himself to death, and it's really sad. So a lot of his stories, I like his short stories. I read In Cold Blood. I read Breakfast at Tiffany's. Um, he's just one of my, he's just one of my favorite writers, characters, that I'm really interested in. Also, I have I'm looking at The Shining. Oh, I can tell you a funny story about The Shining. I came from overseas when I came back from Japan in the 80s. I was pregnant with my son, and I've always been a reader. All the women in my family have always been readers, and of course, I didn't know it. There was no internet then, so we were isolated. We didn't know anything. We were in another country and didn't know anything. Basically except what the military told us, and what we found, what we saw on the Far East Network news, which of course was propaganda. None of it was true. Anytime people are sitting up in uniforms telling you the news, no. Um, and it isn't like it is now. The kids are not isolated. They can get online and see me or do whatever, they know what's going on. But back then in the early 80s, we were pretty much isolated, and I came home, so I didn't know anything about anything. And my sister gave me this book, and I was, too much information again. Michael. I was nursing my son, and my sister said, "Well, and when you're nursing a baby, is all you can do is sit there. It's not what you can do." And my sister said, "Well, here, read this." Okay, Michael, you can come back. I read The Shining. One. Oh, I mean, it's the first time in my life I was actually scared from reading something. Actually frightened from reading something. Plus, the movie disappointed me a lot. Wasn't Jack Nicholson was kind of scary, but other than that, and the little boy was a very good actor. Um, but of course the movie was no good. Um, Stephen King actually did another version of it, more along the lines of what he was thinking. And see, that's the problem I think I'm going to have. No, not in my lifetime will you make a movie out of my book. I don't think so. I think I'll leave the rights to that to my grandkids, and I'm going to leave some videos that tell them exactly who I want playing, kind of person I want playing each part. Because I always think, I came up with this idea. I was thinking, you know what? I could play, of course, I couldn't play the heroine because she's 19 years old. But I always thought it was one character, actually, in my book, I would think, I think play her really, really good, really, really good. And I think I really could do that, but, it's not going to be in my time because there's no way you could put on film what's up here. You can't do it. You can't. I don't know how people do that. It's just crazy. Um, so I think that's it. What I'm gonna do the next, I'm gonna have a drink of cranberry juice, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do the synopsis of the book. Um, Also, I wrote down here about characters, good characters, bad characters, but I'm going to wait because I want everything to be under 20 minutes because I don't want none of that nonsense to go on. So I think I might do one more. I'll look over them, I'll post them, and then I will have my dinner. So, see you guys later.